Hello, this is more than Axel A. Roselo with my partner, Breniel L. Himongala, and we are the third reporters of Chapter 11, and our topic is Sustaining Aquatic Biodiversity. How should we protect and sustain wetlands? To maintain the ecological and economic services of wetlands, we must maximize preservation of remaining wetlands and restoration of degraded and destroyed wetlands. As you can see in the pictures, that the Californian wetlands are among the most diverse in the world, with tidal marshes, an intricate food web replenishing groundwater and filters pollutants. As you can see in the picture, many abiotic and biotic factors help form a thriving and diverse ecosystem found in wetlands. We can preserve and restore wetlands. These are some policies that have been passed by the government to protect and preserve wetlands. Laws for protection. Zoning laws that steer development away from wetlands. And in the US, federal permits are required to fill wetlands greater than 3 acres. Mitigation banking is also an option. It is the preservation, enhancement, restoration, or the creation of wetland which offsets or compensates for expected adverse impacts to similar nearby ecosystems. This is an example of a mitigation bank in California. It is a restored perennial and seasonal marsh and a riparian forest at the Wildlands Mitigation Bank at Placer County, California. Here is another example of a human-created wetland found in the Everglades in Florida. Can we restore the Florida Everglades? The Florida Everglades, better known as the River of Grass found in South Florida, US, had a large diversity of habitats connected by wetlands and water bodies. It was damaged in the 20th century because it was drained, diverted, paved over, and the nutrient pollution from agriculture and also the introduction of invasive plant species. There was also the 1947 the unsuccessful Everglades National Park Protection Project. In 1990, there was a plan rolled out known as the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, also known as CERP. This plan shows the restore curving flow of one half of the Kissimmee River, remove canals and levees in strategic locations, flood farmland to create artificial marshes, and create 18 reservoirs to create water supply for low Everglades and humans, recapture Everglades water flowing to the sea, and return it to the Everglades. Here is an overview to give you an idea on how vast the area covered for this restoration project. How should we protect and sustain freshwater lakes, rivers, and fisheries? Freshwater ecosystems are strongly affected by human activities on adjacent land, and protecting this ecosystem must include the protection of their watersheds. Freshwater ecosystems are under major threats. One example of this threat is think HIPCO, which stands for Habitat Destruction, Degradation, and Fragmentation, invasive species, overpopulation, pollution, climate change, and the overuse of resources. Another is 40% of the world's rivers are dammed, which causes major problems to freshwater ecosystems. Another is freshwater wetlands are being destroyed, invasive species, threatened species, overfishing, and lastly, human population pressures. The Great Lakes, known as Superior, Huron, Michigan, Ontario, and Erie, collectively make up the largest body of fresh water on Earth, accounting for 1/5 of the fresh surface water on the planet. It is invaded by at least 162 non-native species. Examples are sea lamprey, zebra mussels, Quagga mussels, and Asian carp. Sea lampreys are an ancient eel-like fish that wreaked havoc on the Great Lakes and may be America's first destructive invasive species. Zebra mussels are filter feeders that remove tons of particulates and phytoplankton from freshwater habitats that they have infested. Zebra mussels colonies can cause economic damage to pipes and underwater structures. Quagga mussels. These mussels can clog pipes, release putrid smells, contribute to avian botulism outbreaks, increase water acidity, and decrease concentrations of dissolved oxygen. Asian carps. Asian carps cause serious damage to native fish populations in the lakes and rivers that they infest because they outcompete other fish for food and space. Managing river basins is complex and controversial. River basin management is a complex approach including all aspects of water resource management, including water and aquatic ecosystem protection, disaster management, and water use, covering a wide range of disciplines like hydrology, ecology, environmental management, and economy, cross-cutting issues like climate change, data sharing, and stakeholder involvement, and approaches like river basin management plans, water, food, energy ecosystem nexus assessment, science policy integration, and many others. The natural capital and ecological services of rivers are the following: delivers nutrients to the sea to help sustain coastal fisheries, deposit silt that maintain deltas, purify water, renew and renourish wetlands, and lastly, provide habitats for wildlife. We can protect freshwater ecosystems by protecting watersheds. Freshwater ecosystems are protected through laws, economic incentives, and restoration efforts. Wild rivers and scenic rivers are protected by the 1968 National Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, which is our nation's strongest form of protection for free-flowing rivers and streams. What are the priorities for sustained biodiversity in the ecosystem services? Sustaining the world's aquatic biodiversity requires mapping it, protecting aquatic hotspots, creating large, fully protected marine reserves, protecting freshwater ecosystems, and carrying out ecological restoration of degraded coastal and inland wetlands. Using an ecosystem approach to sustaining aquatic biodiversity. Edward O. Wilson, an American biologist, suggests that complete the mapping of the world's aquatic biodiversity, identify and preserve aquatic diversity hotspots, create large and fully protected marine reserves, protect and restore the world's lakes and rivers, ecological restoration projects worldwide, make a conservation financially rewarding. Three big ideas that we can get from this lesson are: the world's aquatic systems provide important ecological and economic services, and scientific investigation of these poorly understood ecosystems could lead to immense ecological and economic benefits. Aquatic ecosystems and fisheries are being severely degraded by human activities that lead to aquatic habitat disruption and loss of biodiversity. And lastly, we can sustain aquatic biodiversity by establishing protected sanctuaries, managing coastal development, reducing water pollution, and preventing overfishing. And that is all for our report on sustaining aquatic biodiversity by Morton Axel A. Roselo and Reniel L. Himongala. Thank you.